I've got Carl here, correct?
Yes.
And is it Janet or Jeanette?
Jeanette.
Jeanette, thank you very much. Now, Carl, this is a matter that you've brought against Jeanette for, I have to say, I think, something which I consider to be rather serious. Because it's about a pet. You've had a keen interest in horses, you must have done, for many years,
yeah.
Yes? Before you purchased this horse, how many horses had you had in the past? Several?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Now, that's important. This wasn't your first.
No.
You'd sold the previous 2, am I right?
Yes.
And there'd been no problems in respect of them, correct?
No.
In respect of this horse, now, that's the last time I'm going to call it this horse, or indeed it. You bought the horse. What horse did you buy?
Guy.
You bought a horse called Guy.
Gorgeous Guy.
There's Guy. Now, Guy is a beautiful-looking horse. He's about 17 hands.
He was about 17 hands.
Right, he's a big boy.
Yes.
And do you know what breed of horse?
Yeah, he's a thoroughbred.
Is that the first time, Jeanette, you've ever owned a thoroughbred?
It's the first time I've owned one, not the first time I'd ridden one.
Of course. There's no way you buy a thoroughbred unless you've been on one before.
No.
You understand that, don't you, Carl?
Yeah, definitely.
There's tittering. I can't imagine why. Related to that tittering, was he a gelding?
Yes.
Can you explain to me what I mean by that, please?
Castrated male.
He was. Now, that matters because there is a profound difference between a gelding and a non-gelding thoroughbred, yes?
Yes.
Usually 5,000 miles an hour and the chance of getting off the horse alive is the difference.
Sometimes, yeah.
Understand. Now, when you bought him, was he broken in? In other words, was he safe to ride?
Yes.
How old was he?
I think he was about 10.
Now, you got the horse passport at that stage.
That's right.
Can you explain to me, because people might not know, what the horse passport is?
Horse passport is a document that you have. It shows his breeding. It shows his colouring and his markings. He would have been microchipped, and the microchip number would be in the passport, so the passport can only be associated with that particular horse.
Exactly so. And what's more, you have to make an application to the passport company.
Yeah.
And especially to the microchip company to get the horse transferred into your name.
That's right.
You did all of that. So far, no complaints. Now, you had him for a short while, and where was he stabled?
He was stabled in a little village on a livery yard.
On half or full livery?
On DIY livery.
DIY livery. In other words, he had somewhere to live.
Somewhere to live. I looked after him.
Up to you to get up there every day and do everything.
That's right.
You looked after the horse very well. The problem was, unsurprisingly, as I look at Guy, and it's not about your size, because there are people that have relationships with horses and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just like men and women in that sense. You understand?
Yes.
And although he was broken in, the two of you couldn't get on, correct?
That's right.
Now, when I say you couldn't get on, you used to ride him, you explained to me what the difficulty was.
99% of the time, there was no difficulty. Anybody knows a thoroughbred will know that 1% of the time there can be enormous complications in that they decide on the road that they want to be a racehorse again. And obviously...
Had he previously been a racehorse?
Yes.
Sure. And there he is on the road. There's you. 99% of the time it's fine. But boy, does it take a lot of leg, not arm,
No,
leg control in order to stop a horse like that from bolting off with you,
Yeah,
correct?
that's right.
And especially if you're on the road, that is a very dangerous thing.
It happened to me once.
Did he throw you more than once?
No, I only got thrown once.
And that was enough of a warning sign to you?
That was enough to decide that my life was more important than the horse's life.
Understood. That was a sensible choice that you made.
That's right.
Very sensible.
Yes.
You make a decision, and the decision you make is a difficult one. You're going to sell him.
That's right.
Carl, you saw an advert. How much did it cost?
How much was he for sale for?
Yes.
£300.
How much had you bought him for in the first place?
50.
Now, people may be surprised by that. Ex-racehorses, surprising, you know this too, don't you? Aren't as valuable, interestingly, as some horses who have been school horses for years. Can you help me with why that's the case, Carl? Do you know why?
When they're trained to race, they're literally trained to run flat out constantly, and they're really hard to reschool once they're brought off the track.
In other words, they don't go from being racehorses into being great riding horses and pets.
No.
No.
That's why the value. Excellent. You saw that ad, you went to see the horse, correct?
Yes.
Was Jeanette there?
Yeah, she was.
Jeanette, would you have allowed just anybody to take Guy away?
No.
What did you want? What were you looking for in a potential purchaser?
Somebody that would keep him long term, that knew what they were doing.
Very
And
important.
that could ride him and knew his faults.
Very important. If you enjoyed that video, then I strongly suggest clicking here for more highlights. For those of you who haven't subscribed yet, and why not, so that you never miss out, subscribe. Clicking down there, that's an order.